And welcome to Tech Tuesday. I'm Steve Leahy. Okay, this is a good one. I've seen this one a lot. It's been popping up for quite a while, back and forth. And the big question is, should you get one of those really cheap knockoff airbrushes, especially if you're starting? If that's something you're interested in, then stick around and we'll get into it. All right, so to give you my perspective on this question, I'm going to start with these guys right here. This is going to give you kind of an idea of where I'm going with this. So I have two pairs of pliers here. They're similar, they do kind of the same thing. The difference is this guy here was produced by the J.P. Danielson Company. Now the J.P. Danielson Company was founded in 1905 and they produced tools through about 1907, so for about 2 years. And then they were acquired by a company you may be familiar with if you're into tools, and they were acquired by the Crescent Company, which is still around today, and they make some exceptional tools. I've had this pair of pliers in my toolkit right next to me. So you see they're covered in paint and patina, and I've been using these pliers for quite a long time. These are the pliers that I use if the needle gets stuck in the airbrush from dried paint. I'll just put this pair of pliers gently on the back of the needle and pull straight out. And then that's kind of how I get those out. Plus I use it around the Visionaire station too. I've had these pliers forever, and I acquired these pliers from my dad. Well, he didn't really know I acquired them. It was one of those things that I was using them when I was living at the house when I was a kid, and they just stayed with me the whole time. What I didn't realize was that he acquired them from my grandfather. So he probably got these new or even got them used. Regardless, these pliers here are about 117 years old. So, in order for a pair of pliers to last that long, they need to be made very, very well. And these guys certainly are. Were they the cheapest pliers available at the time? Probably not. Just as Crescent tools are equally as expensive now compared to other tools. This guy here is built in the dollar store, or was sold by the dollar store. They're extremely inexpensive. I think they are about $1, $2. They came in a small repair kit. My thing with these is just simply this. Do I think that these pliers here are going to last 117 years? Absolutely not. They are markedly cheaper. They're not really secure left to right. Where these guys, even after 117 years, I can't do the same thing with that. The metal is completely different. I would expect these would break if you used any kind of real torque on them. But the difference is, again, if you bring it to modern day, a good pair of pliers is anywhere from about $30 to $40. You can buy a pair of pliers for about $1. And will they work? Probably, and they'll get the job done. Will they eventually give you headaches pretty fast? I would imagine so. So that will lead us into our airbrush talk for today. Okay, so here is a $10 airbrush. And on the outside, it looks great. Seems like it works really well. And it probably does. I think I've maybe used this once. Maybe. So the differences between this and another brush is the cost, really, and the quality, and the availability of parts and service. You buy these brushes to be disposable. They don't have the same kind of support that a brand name brush would have. So my reoccurring thing through this whole video today is you can buy these brushes, just know what you're getting into. The quality generally tends to be the consistency really tends to be all over the road. You can buy one that works great. You can buy one that really works like garbage. And the thing is at $10 you can literally just get a new one without having to worry too much about it. Same thing with the parts. If the nozzle or needle goes in it, well, you just get a new one. Just order a new one up. The fit and finish is usually pretty nasty. This feels like it's grinding metal on metal, which it is, but that's mostly because the threads aren't cut correctly, so it's difficult to put this handle on and off. You can feel the resistance. The needles are generally made out of softer metal so that they'll bend more frequently, but again, at $10 you don't care. Will it allow you to kind of get the basics down? Yeah, because what it's missing is the refinement of a more expensive brush. And in the beginning, you're not about refinement. You're really just trying to get the motions down, the air on, and then that paint to come out and turn off. You're not looking for, super tight details with these brushes. There are plenty of videos out there of people using these brushes and getting really tight detail, but the analogy I use is you give like a pro golfer an inexpensive pair of clubs and they're still going to play pretty well with them. And that's the same kind of thing. You have an airbrush artist that is experienced and knows how to kind of fight through problems. They can make these brushes look really, really good. So that's it's kind of a dangerous thing. The other thing is longevity. What I have here, this is my very first airbrush, the very first airbrush I ever bought. This is an Iwata HP SB. I bought this in 1988, which makes this a wonderful 35 years old. There are certainly airbrushes out there, quality airbrushes that are older than this that still work really, really well too, but this is just one of the older ones that I have. And I bring this up because, like I said, this is my first airbrush. This is what I invested in, and I knew I wanted to really do this. I really wanted to use the airbrush, so I wasn't shy about getting what at the time was one of the best airbrushes, and still really is. It's the quality on it is crazy. Again, this is a 35-year-old airbrush that works like it's brand new, and that's its machining, that's its overall quality of materials. And the other best thing about this guy here is this company is still around. So if I need parts for this brush, they're there. If I need to talk to someone about this brush, the company is still there. Now, I don't want to make this about brand. The Iwatas are great. They've been around for a really long time. They're exceptional airbrushes in my opinion, but I'm not saying this is the brush to get. It certainly is a great brush, but I'm not talking about a specific brand. What I'm talking about in general is, if you're really serious about this, getting an airbrush from a company that is around and that you can talk to and get parts from and have your questions answered, instead of having to just throw a question out on Amazon and hope someone gets back to you without some sort of generic canned answer. There are people here that will talk to you. Same thing with Badger and Grex and Pache and all those other really established companies. They're around. They'll be able to help you out with questions you have. And again, when you buy a brush that is going to last for a long time, it frees you up to buy different brushes. You're not constantly buying the same airbrush because the airbrush you have is breaking. So I have this one. This is a really good detail brush, and it's side feed. It's a little cup on the side normally. It's in the box here. So as I progressed with this brush, I found out it'd be fun to have other brushes. There's a side feed cup for that. So this one does a specific job. So then it opens up to buy different brushes. So this is another Iwata, and this is a Micron B. So it's just a different style. The cup's on the top and blah, 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 blah. Does also detail, but then there's also, other brushes that are designed to do, bigger, heavier stuff like the CS. And it just, like I said, you're not buying the same brush over and over again because it keeps breaking. Now you can buy different brushes, but they're going to add to what your collection is and what they can do. So that's kind of my take on this. If you want a really good video, I'm going to put a link in the description. It's from Squidmar Miniatures, and he goes and visits the Harder and Steenbeck factory. And if you want a really good idea of the kind of relentless quality that goes into higher quality, more expensive brushes, check out that video. And again, I'll put the link in the description for you to see that. The manufacturing process can be relentless, and that's certainly what companies like Iwata and Harder and Steenbeck do. So check out that video. It's great, and it'll give you a good idea of what really goes into that. All right. So bottom line, again, if you are just getting into this and you have a real short budget and you just want to see if you like it, something like this is a decent choice. I can't recommend one because they don't really have names. They do have names, but they're basically just the same airbrush with different names printed on them or engraved in them. But they're all the same price range, super cheap. Again, if you do get one, understand that if you have problems out of the gate that you just can't understand, there is a better chance that it is the airbrush than it is you. Where if you get an airbrush that is of higher quality, then the chance that something that's going wrong will then be more on you than on the brush, which is nice because then you know what to fix. If it's on the brush and you're doing everything right and it's still not working right, it can be extremely frustrating. Because you'd have to replace the brush to figure out what's really the problem. Where if you get a good quality brush, you know that it's probably going to be something that you're doing. The other thing, the argument or conversation that people have about expensive brushes as opposed to, really super cheap brushes, the cost of everything on these is higher. So a nozzle for an airbrush like this is anywhere from about $25 to $50 for this. If you can find the nozzles on this, I'm sure they'd be super, super cheap. If this whole brush is only $10, I'm sure the nozzles are equally as inexpensive. Again, the problem is you won't probably be able to find nozzles to fit this. But if you could, that's the argument. I could buy many brushes for what this brush costs, many of these for what this one costs. However, again, this one's $35. And how many of these am I going to buy over the span of 35 years? So with the headaches that go with them. So again, buy these with caution, know what you're getting, and you'll be fine. You will eventually, I guarantee though, you use these brushes, I guarantee sooner or later you want to upgrade into something that you will have less headaches with. So I hope this helps. I know there are a lot of different opinions on this. I'm just giving you really mine as far as what my career has been with interaction with brushes and how that being the cornerstone, this part really needs to work flawlessly for me. I need something that I can rely on. These guys are just not it. And again, they serve a purpose. And the most important part is with the information that you have, you'll be able to figure out if they'll fit your particular purpose. All right, so I hope that helped. Please leave your comments below. I know this is a common, popular topic. So if you have any feedback on this and anything that I've kind of gone over, please drop them in the comments below. Again, your likes and subscribes really do help around here. Totally appreciate it. And of course, the credit screen is coming up with my huge thank you to my Patreon and YouTube members. You guys really keep things going around here. All right, so for Steve Leahy, Tech Tuesday, I will catch you next time.